So a couple of weeks ago, when we were installing the Eagle Pro AI, the R15, D-Link put forward a couple of suggestions when setting up a home network. So I decided, let's take a look and see if I agree with their suggestions or not. As guys, when it comes to installing mesh, there's a few things to take into consideration. And I found it really cool that, hey, you know what, when you're installing your mesh, because most people just plug and leave it there, it gives you something to think about, and as well as it educates users who are not so tech savvy or not so networking savvy. So cool. Now let's take a look at one of the first placement suggestions that they made. One of the first placement suggestions they made is the router or the range extender have to be more than 75 centimeters off the ground. And being more than 75 centimeters off the ground, we 100% agree with that. Because remember now, when you place a router, depending on how you place the antennas, the signal will be bouncing around like that. So if you're placing it in the floor and your phone's up here, then the signal is literally under your phone and you're not going to get any coverage. The second thing that D-Link suggested was to have your routers or your range extenders more than 30 centimeters away from walls. And yes, I agree with them on that as well, because having it 30 centimeters away from the wall gives the signal sufficient space, because remember now, how the signal works is it starts spreading out. So if it's against the wall, as soon as the signal leaves the router, it's going to bang the wall and it's not going to get the ability to dissipate sufficient coverage. The third thing that D-Link suggests when it comes to setting up a Wi-Fi network is to only have one brick or concrete wall separating routers or range extenders. Now, do I agree with that? I do 100%, because that gives the best efficiency in terms of connection. The only problem with that is when you consider South African homes, right? There's a very slim chance that you're going to have a single brick wall separating routers. Because if you take me for example now, right? My router or the range extender for my room is placed in my room. The closest one is 2 rooms away in the computer room or the networking room, and that has to go through my wall and the entry wall to that room. Same thing applies to the router downstairs. It's going to have to go through, well, yeah, I guess you could say it'll have to go through one concrete floor, but it also has a little bit of a bend now where the wall and the floor meet, that it has to connect through that to connect to that router. The fourth thing in connection with the router placement is it also suggests to only have 2 to 3 walls of a light composite material like wood or I forget what this is called, but normally American homes are built with it, where it's just like the framing, and then there's like, I don't want to say plyboard, like drywall, that's the word, drywall. In South Africa, we are concrete and bricks kind of people, so I guess that's not happening anytime soon. The fifth suggestion that D-Link puts forth when we're setting a network up is routers that are connecting to each other should not have wider than a 30-degree connecting radius, right? Now, again, when we think of that in South African homes, I mean, my router connecting to the router in the computer room is not even a 40, it's, yeah, I'd say like a 35, maybe 40-degree angle. Same thing with the one downstairs, it's about a 35-40-degree angle. So I guess we're okay with that. And do I agree with it? Yeah, I do, because I mean the connecting angles of the internal antennas, so yeah, but I mean we're never gonna always meet some of these needs. And again, I'm defying all of this, but the network is stable and we're getting fairly sufficient coverage out of it. The sixth thing that D-Link suggests is to not have more than a 5-meter distance between your connecting mesh nodes or your routers. To not have more than a 5-meter distance between your connecting mesh nodes or routers. In my case, I think it's about under 5, if I consider maybe like 4.5, 5 meters this way and about 3 meters down. So I guess yes and no, but again, also I agree with it, but here you take this with a grain of salt, because you can stretch the limits as much as D-Link is saying less than 5 meters, because that's the strongest connection you can make. You can push the limits, and I mean, depending on your home, how your home is built, we can stretch those limits. Now, that was 5. So those were some of the 5 suggestions that D-Link put forth when we are setting up a home network or setting up a mesh network. I do agree with them, and I mean, they're a network infrastructure company. So they're building routers, they're testing all of these things out. They've done the research and development for us, and they're providing us with all of the feedback so that we can build a strong and efficient network at our homes. So I have agreed with them. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any other suggestions for having the best network without spending a penny. But guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can let me know by giving me a like rating if you did. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos, and make sure you follow us on our social medias to check out what's going on behind the scenes. But until the next time guys, my name is Preshaan, and I'll catch you in the next video.